Imagine waking up one day to sirens blaring everywhere. Not a drill, but a real emergency. A nuclear war has just broken out. Sounds like a nightmare, right? But with the way tensions are rising globally, it's a question a lot of people are asking. What if a nuclear war actually happened? Hey there, curious minds. Today, we're diving into one of the scariest what-if scenarios out there. A nuclear war. We'll look at what it actually means, what would happen immediately and long-term, and why it's still such a big concern today. This is a heavy topic, but understanding it is important. So let's break it down step by step, without any doom and gloom overload. Okay, first up, what is nuclear war exactly? A nuclear war is when countries use nuclear weapons against each other on a large scale. These weapons aren't your typical bombs. They release energy from nuclear reactions, which makes them exponentially more powerful. We've seen the devastating effects twice in history. The atomic bombs dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki in 1945. Those two explosions alone killed over 200,000 people by the end of that year. Since then, nuclear technology has advanced drastically. Modern weapons are hundreds or even thousands of times more powerful than those first bombs. If a full-scale nuclear war broke out today, it wouldn't be a handful of bombs dropped here and there. We're talking dozens, maybe hundreds, of nuclear explosions targeting cities, military bases, and infrastructure around the world. The scale of destruction would be unimaginable. To understand why nuclear war is such a huge threat, it helps to know a bit about how we got here. The first nuclear bomb was developed during World War II as part of the Manhattan Project, a secret US program. The bombs dropped on Japan ended the war, but left scars that are still felt today. After World War II, the Cold War began, a tense standoff mainly between the US and the Soviet Union. Both countries built massive stockpiles of nuclear weapons, leading to a terrifying concept called mutually assured destruction, or MAD. Basically, if one side launched nukes, the other would too, leading to total annihilation for everyone. Luckily, a full-scale nuclear war never happened during the Cold War. Instead, there were near misses and crises, like the Cuban Missile Crisis in 1962, that brought the world close to disaster but ultimately ended peacefully. Today, while the Cold War is over, nuclear weapons remain in the arsenals of several countries. New tensions and conflicts keep the threat alive. What happens when a nuclear bomb explodes? Alright, let's get into the terrifying mechanics of a nuclear explosion, so you know what exactly we're talking about. When a nuclear bomb detonates, the first thing you get is a blinding flash of light. This flash is so intense, it can cause temporary or even permanent blindness for miles around. The temperature at the center of the blast can reach millions of degrees, hotter than the surface of the sun. This heat can cause severe burns on exposed skin several kilometers from ground zero. Next comes a massive shockwave, a powerful blast of air that travels faster than the speed of sound, smashing buildings, throwing cars, and causing massive destruction. The shockwave can flatten entire city blocks in seconds. Following the shockwave is a terrifying mushroom cloud, which rises high into the atmosphere. But inside and around that cloud, deadly radiation is released. There are two main types of radiation: initial radiation and fallout. Initial radiation happens within seconds of the explosion and can cause acute radiation sickness, vomiting, bleeding, and often death within days if exposure is high enough. Fallout is radioactive dust and particles that settle back to Earth over hours and days, contaminating land, water, and food supplies. Let's talk scale. What kind of damage are we looking at? For context, the bomb dropped on Hiroshima was about 15 kilotons. A kiloton equals 1,000 tons of TNT. Modern nuclear weapons can be 100 to 1,000 times more powerful, in the megaton range. Imagine a city the size of New York or Tokyo being hit by multiple bombs of that size. The immediate death toll would be in the millions, with many more dying later from injuries and radiation. But it's not just people. Infrastructure, hospitals, power plants, roads, all gone. Communication networks destroyed. Emergency services overwhelmed or wiped out. The psychological impact would be massive. Survivors would face trauma, loss of family, and uncertainty about what comes next. Fallout and nuclear winter. The aftermath is even more dangerous than the initial blasts. Radioactive fallout can spread for hundreds or thousands of miles, carried by winds. It contaminates farmland, rivers, and cities, making them unsafe to live in for years. But the worst might be nuclear winter. Scientists think that the smoke and soot from burning cities and forests would rise into the stratosphere and block sunlight worldwide. Less sunlight means global temperatures would drop dramatically. Crops would fail, leading to food shortages and famine on a massive scale. Animals would suffer too, disrupting ecosystems. Even countries not directly hit by bombs would face the consequences. Now the big question, could humans survive a nuclear war? Short answer, yes, some would survive, but survival wouldn't mean business as usual. Large parts of the world would be uninhabitable for years. Radiation sickness, starvation, disease, and social collapse would cause millions more deaths after the initial blasts. Governments might fall apart, law and order could break down, refugees would flood safer areas. But humans are resilient. People would adapt, rebuild, and find ways to survive, just like after other disasters. Still, the loss of life and damage would be staggering. Why this matters today? You might wonder, is nuclear war really possible today? The short answer, yes, it's still a very real threat. Despite treaties and disarmament talks, thousands of nuclear weapons still exist around the world. Some countries are modernizing their arsenals or developing new weapons. Political conflicts and rivalries can spiral out of control. Mistakes or misunderstandings could accidentally trigger an attack. That's why experts warn about the importance of diplomacy, arms control, and public awareness. So, what if a nuclear war broke out? It would be catastrophic, on a scale almost impossible to imagine. The immediate destruction, the deadly fallout, and the long-term environmental impact could change the planet forever. But understanding the risks is key to preventing it from ever happening. If you found this helpful, please hit like, subscribe, and let me know your thoughts or questions in the comments. Thanks for sticking through this heavy topic with me. Stay curious, stay informed, and most importantly, stay safe.